everyone, my name is Catherine and I'm a power host on Turo. So I posted my first and only video about 10 months ago saying how I got started on Turo and a little bit about my fleet back then, but obviously a lot has changed. So I kind of just wanted to give you guys an update and tell you a little bit about me and how I got started on Turo. I currently live in Jackson, Mississippi. I grew up in a very small town and went to a very small school. I graduated with I think it was 21 people, very small number. So when I graduated, I wanted to go to a bigger school. So I chose to go to Mississippi State University. I was there from August of 2016 to May of 2020, where I graduated with a degree in biochemistry and my concentration is in forensic science. So after I graduated, I got a job at the crime lab in Pearl, Mississippi. So I moved to Jackson. I also had a boyfriend at the time that lived in Jackson. So I knew I wanted to be in this area. And I fortunately got the job. So I started that job in August of 2020 and quit in February of 2021. The pay was absolutely horrible. It was so bad. You can literally make more pretty much anywhere. It was so bad. I was a contract employee, so I did not get the state benefits or anything like that. It was just a contract basically. If I didn't work, I didn't get paid. So that was kind of how it worked. So I couldn't afford, to take days off because I could barely afford my rent. It was so miserable and so bad. So I quit for various reasons. Well, mostly because I got sort of not really into an argument with my boss, but we had a falling out. And so I quit on a whim. It was pretty unexpected. I hadn't gone into work that day planning on quitting my job, but it just didn't work out. I love the job itself. I love forensic science. I love anything crime related, as bad as that sounds, but I was super passionate about it. So I really hated that one person kind of ruined the experience for me. And I knew I didn't want to move out of Jackson, so there was only one crime lab. That didn't really leave me with a lot of options for work. So once I quit, I didn't really know what I was gonna do, so I really didn't do a whole lot, we'll say. I really didn't do a whole lot up until January of 2022. I decided to go back to school and pursue a master's degree in cybersecurity. I didn't really know a whole lot about cybersecurity. I actually didn't know anything about cybersecurity, but I knew that it was a growing field and I thought that I wanted to be a part of that. So started school in January of 2022 and did that. I decided in June, I think it was June of 2022, to get my real estate license. That was something I had always wanted to do, so I decided to go through with that. I took the course back in 2020, but I never took the test. So I took the test in June, July, anyway, somewhere around that time. Passed it, got my real estate license, and started doing real estate. Loved that. It was super fun. And around this time, it was July, my boyfriend had suggested to me, hey, why don't you list your car on Turo? So a little backstory. I bought a 2015 Audi Q3 in, I believe it was April of 2021 or 2022. It was April of 2022. Just to have as a second car, because my first car was a Porsche. I bought it brand new, Porsche Macan, loved it, was obsessed with it, so excited. So I bought the Audi just to keep the miles off of my Porsche because I was going back and forth from school to work and I just didn't want to put a lot of miles on my car, so I decided to buy the Audi. And in July, he suggested to me to list my car on Turo. I didn't know what Turo was. It was something I'd never heard of. And I was like, I'm not doing that. I don't want someone in my car. That's weird. And I need my car. He was like, you don't need 2 cars. I was like, no, I need 2 cars. Like, that's just me. I was like, I need 2 cars. And I gave it a little bit of thought and didn't really think, a whole lot about it. Just kind of was like, whatever. So in August, I was like, okay, I guess I'll list my car on Turo. So August 26th of 2022, I listed my Audi on Turo. I was not expecting literally anything. Like, I didn't expect to get a booking. I was like, I live in Jackson, Mississippi. If I haven't heard of Turo, I'm like pretty, up to date on things. If I haven't heard of Turo, I highly doubt anyone in Jackson, Mississippi has heard of Turo. So I listed it and got a booking for the next day. I just listed it and I didn't think anything of it. I had my notifications on, but I was like, okay, whatever. I listed it and left it, basically. So got my first booking. I was like, now what? I don't really know what to do. I knew I had to clean the car, so took it through the car wash, cleaned it, and then met the guest to pick up the keys. Sorry, I have something in my eye. It's like really getting on my nerves. I met the guest in person at my apartment complex because I didn't really know like where else I was gonna do it. So I met them and verified their driver's license. I knew I had to do that. Handed them the keys, and I was like, okay, I guess that's it. Like, that's all I do. So during this time, I think their trip was maybe a couple days. I don't really remember. I kept getting more bookings. I was like, what is this? Like, I was literally expecting nothing out of this. I mean, absolutely nothing. And I just kept getting more bookings. So I had this bright idea. I was like, oh my gosh, what if I buy another car? I'm kind of an impulsive person. So yeah, I was like, I'll just go buy another car. Whatever. Okay. It seems to be going well. So why not? And on September 13th, literally like 2 weeks after I started doing Turo, I decided to purchase a 2017 Chevy Cruze, and it had like 100,000 miles on it. So it was not a good purchase at all. I thought, okay, the car is priced low. I can pay it off quick and then I'll make profit. Still a good thought process, right? Like, okay, cool. Easy enough. So I bought the car and it started having problems like pretty much immediately. And it stayed in the shop for the most part. But it kept getting, it did get booked. Like while I had it on the platform, it kept getting booked. And keep in mind, at this point, I still like really had no idea what I was doing. I was like taking the check-in pictures and stuff like that. But as far as like how to price cars, didn't know anything about that. Didn't do any kind of research. Like I literally watched no YouTube videos, didn't like Google. I Googled Turo just to find out what it was, but I did look at like what cars were in Jackson, and there was like very few. So basically, like I said, did no research. So I just thought, okay, I'll buy the Chevy Cruze. So I bought it, and like I said, had a lot of problems, but was staying booked. So I thought, wow, okay, this is like really crazy. I can't believe this is going so well. I'm very surprised. And keep in mind, during this time, I was also still in grad school, and I was working full-time as a realtor. After that, I thought, I guess I'll buy another car. Why not? Because my 2 cars were doing so well and staying rented. So I thought, okay, I'll buy a different car this time. So I bought a Porsche Macan S 2017 on October 10th of 2022. This one is really a gamble. I mostly just bought it because I love Porsches. I know the correct term is Porsche, but I usually just say Porsche. I think everyone does. And I had one and I loved it. So I thought maybe other people will like it too. Don't really know. It was pretty much just a gamble. I was like, maybe it'll get rented. I don't know. I was just hoping that it would. I was like, maybe people in Jackson will like this car because I like it. It's nice. Cool. And it got a booking that same day. I was like, wow, this is crazy. I kind of wasn't expecting that. And I think I might have said this already, but I didn't know how to price my cars, had no idea. Turo does suggest a minimum, but their minimum is like ridiculously low compared to what the car should be priced at. So I did price it a little higher than that, but their minimum was low. So listed it, got a booking that same day. They picked up that night. I was pretty much still figuring things out at this point, like how to do Turo and, taking the pictures, meeting the guests, trying to coordinate times to meet the guests in between class and working. Fortunately, doing real estate, you can work on your own terms pretty much. But yeah, I bought the Porsche, it got booked, so cool, everything was good. And I thought, Turo is like going so well, maybe I'll just buy even more cars. So literally 2 days later, I got this bright idea, I'll just buy 2 more cars. So that's exactly what I did. I bought 2 cars in one day on October 12th of 2022. I honestly, like I said, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know what cars would do well in my market. I bought cars based on what I liked and based on reliability. My dad is a mechanic, so of course I asked him, hey, what would be, good cars, blah, blah, blah. So on the 12th of October, I bought a 2022 Honda Civic and a 2023 Hyundai Elantra. I love Elantras. I had one from the time I was 16 till I was 21. That car, ran it into the ground. It was a fantastic car. I loved it. So bought those 2 cars, got them listed, and they booked immediately. It was so crazy. I was like, oh my gosh, I really want to do this. Like, I want to have a full-scale fleet. So everything was going great. My cars were booking. It was fantastic. So I have my little PowerPoint pulled up here because I can't like keep the dates straight in my head. So like I had said, my Chevy Cruze was having a lot of problems, and on October 24th of 2022, I traded it in for a 2021 Toyota Corolla. That car was like not the best car, honestly. I don't remember how many miles it had on it, but it was just like it had stained seats. Like I had to replace the rims. Like there was like a tire on the car that didn't even fit. It was weird. So of course I had my dad look at it, and he was like, this is kind of crazy. So we had to do some work on it, put a little bit of money into it. But it was staying rented. I mean, it got rented too. Like all my cars were staying rented. It was going so well. I was figuring things out, working full time, going to school, managing a lot of stuff. So about a month later, on November 21st, 2022, I decided to buy another Elantra. I don't really know why I decided to buy another Elantra. Like, there was not really a thought process behind that. I was just like, okay, like, I like Elantras. The Elantra's doing well. I'll just buy another Elantra. So I did, and it was getting booked as well. Stayed booked. So things were going great. Nothing crazy was going on. I was loving Turo. It was making me some good money. So yeah, basically at this point, nothing had gone wrong. And I know it sounds like I'm like leading into something going wrong, but something did go wrong. So let's see. I guess I don't have the date on here for this, but about a month after I bought the Toyota Corolla, my financing fell through. I was so mad about this. I was like, how do you sell me a car and then my financing falls through a month later? Like, they never finalized the deal. I still don't really know why. But after the month, before they finalized the deal, they ran my credit bureau again, and they saw how many cars I had, so they backed out. This was Capital One. So I obviously will not do business with Capital One again. They just left a negative taste in my mouth. So I had to return the car. I'd put all this money into it. Luckily, it did make me some money while I was on the platform, but it was still just like very upsetting. It was a loss, so hated to see that go. And I spread my cars out by like months. Like I'll go a month and then buy another car. So December 20th of 2022, I decided to buy like a small SUV. I bought a Honda HR-V from CarMax. Yeah, it was staying booked, and I knew that at this point I was like, I really want to do Turo full time. So I was still doing real estate, but I decided to drop out of school because it was just too much for me to manage school and running like a little small car rental business, and doing real estate. So I had to pick like the things that I wanted the most in life. And school, the program I was in, I wasn't very passionate about. Like, it was a good program, but I just wasn't very passionate about it. And I honestly found cybersecurity very confusing. And I was like, this is probably not a good fit for me. I loved like how I could do Turo basically on my own terms. That's kind of always been my goal, was to like work on my own schedule. Freedom is something that I value a lot. And so I love doing Turo. I knew that that was something I wanted to pursue. And I love doing real estate because I could do it, you know, again, on my own terms. But I was getting like super busy because I had all these cars. And fast forward like probably February-ish of 2022, I decided to stop doing real estate. The market had kind of gone down, and I didn't make it with the market. So when the market went down, I went down. And yeah, I stopped doing real estate, so I decided to do Turo full time, and I loved it. It was so awesome. In November 2022, I joined what is now Automatic Cash Cars. I found the work on Upwork and submitted a proposal, had an interview, got hired, and now I work with that company doing Automatic Cash Cars, and I will make a video like going more into that. So that's pretty much what I was doing at the time. Running my little car rental business. Hang on. And yeah, I was pretty satisfied with my fleet at this point, but of course I was like, I want more cars. So in January of this year, January 30th, 2023, I bought a 2023 Kia Rio. And about that same time, I don't know if it was the same day or not, but I bought a Volkswagen Tiguan for myself because I had totaled my Porsche in December. It wasn't my fault, but I totaled the car, and I needed a car for myself, so I bought a Volkswagen Tiguan. I've always loved them, but that didn't last very long. I put it on Turo because I wanted to make some more money. So it had a lot of miles on it, but it was fine. I was like, you know, whatever. This car is going to be for me. I'm not going to rent it out. But of course, I ended up renting it out. So at this point, you know, I had all my cars, loved it. Everything's going great. And I stayed at that point for a while with that number of cars. I think that was what, 6, 7, something like that. Stayed at that number. Everything was going great, fantastic, loved it. And June 27th of 2023, I was able to get approved for another car. I got approved for a 2021 Hyundai Tucson, and yeah, that was not that long ago. So bought that car, it started renting. The Turo business in Jackson has been crazy. I never would have thought that it would have turned into what it did. Not listed on my PowerPoint is the most recent car that I bought, which is a 2022 Kia Sportage. I bought it like last month, I think. Actually I bought it like a couple weeks ago, but it stayed booked. So I love Turo, super passionate about it, super passionate about Automatic Cash Cars. I love everything. I love my life now. Things are great. Yeah, I do have one more thing that I was going to share. A couple weeks ago in the mail, I got a cease and desist letter from Ally, who I'd financed my white 23 Hyundai Elantra with. They said that I could not rent the car out anymore. So I sold that car like 2 days ago. And I ended up paying like $4,000 out of pocket to sell it, which sucked, but I had to get rid of it because I was like, I have really no use for this car. Well, I mean, if I can't rent it out, that's the whole thing. That's why I bought the car, was to rent it out. If I can't rent it out, then I don't need it. So I sold it. And yeah, that is my current fleet. I sold the Kia Rio as well. Really didn't have a rhyme or reason behind that. So yeah, I sold that car. So my current fleet consists of, my Audi quit. That's why I bought the Kia Sportage. My most recent car, my Kia Sportage 22, my 22 Honda Civic, my 23 black Elantra, my 2017 HRV, my 2017 Porsche Macan, my 21 Hyundai Tucson, and I know there's one more, I'm missing it. Oh, my Volkswagen. So that is my current fleet, and yeah, everything's been going great. I have nothing but good things to say about the Turo platform. So if you're considering joining, you 100% should do it. If you have any questions, just leave a comment below and I would be more than happy to answer. So thank you for watching.